you came under immense pressure and criticism with the calls that you have made that the scope of reference should be broadened. Can you just maybe give us more clarity in terms of what you meant with that suggestion?
After the state of capture report, during the process of the Gupta leaks, after the Gupta leaks emails, remember there was a time where I was also accused of sitting on reports. I was accused of not fast-tracking the investigation of matters relating to the Gupta leaks, which came out, or the complaint was lodged by SACC. The several issues which were there were relating to the issue of Koko Mashele availing the legal opinion to the Guptas, Minister Mutambi availing some of the documents to the Guptas. There were allegations relating to Transnet, the issue of the locomotives, allegations against Minister Gigaba and Minister Brown, how they appointed Brian and I think it was one of the Gupta associate into the board of ESCOM. So hence I was saying the matter is before court, and let's hear what the court is saying, because by then the matter was sub judice. But now when you check the issues which have been raised after the state of capture was finalized, we've opened the files. We must investigate those matters, taking an advantage of this process because the commission is fully funded. Hence, I'm saying broaden it so that these matters also, because they are related to the very same issue of the Guptas. Let the commission proceed with dealing with those issues.
Okay. Now, when we say broaden, and I think maybe that's how I understand why some people may have either missed the point or, criticize you. Do you have a specific date in terms of up to where must that scope stretch?
No, I didn't even mention it in my statement.
Yes,
I mean,
that's
why?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
people.
Where the confusion comes in. Because a lot of people already on social media, they're already talking about are we going to 1994, whichever time. So, do you have a time limitation that you perhaps have in mind?
No, I don't. I didn't. I mean, it's for the commission to decide. For me, I was saying broaden it to include these additional complaints which I'm having. And I mean, if the commission is investigating a matter properly, and for instance, in the state of capture report, the public protector investigated the ESCOM Tegeta relations. That information is there, is here with the public protector, but now that also looked into other contracts which were signed way before. I mean, Glencore contracts, when were they signed? Years back. But now when you investigate, you will have to also start there and investigate and check what happened, what standards were supposed to be followed, what prescriptions, what is wrong or what impropriety took place in those contracts.
Now, your predecessor, Advocate Thuli Madonsela, seemingly is unhappy about your suggestions. She is saying that this might prolong the whole investigation and it might just take too long and shift the focus from the bigger issue.
I think as the public protector of the country, and the state of capture report is the report of the public protector, and I've issued a statement which I'm clarifying now. Where did I mention the issue of the time? Did I ever say it must stretch beyond 1994 or it must cover every issue of it? I didn't say that. I said broaden the scope, and I'm clarifying now why I'm saying broaden the scope, because of the other investigations I'm having in my office.
But she's also worried that this might shift the focus from the initial report and the issues that are tabled in this report, because now the scope is going to be too broad, and that is perhaps maybe the main criticism that's coming from the public domain. Are you not worried that the focus might be compromised or might divert completely?
Any person, they have their views. I mean, she has her views, other members and commentators are having their views. The commission will investigate. I'm not going to impose on the commission what to investigate. And the terms of reference, as I'm indicating, the report is a starting point. The only issues I said include which are related to the very same issue are the complaints which I have in my office, and I don't think there are that much complaints which can delay the commission. In no way I'm saying the commission must investigate since 1652 or even before 1994, but in its nature the investigation will uncover and will be dealing with issues. They won't just ignore information for the sake of ignoring it, because remember, this will help the country to put this behind us and to address the issues of corruption. Because remember, again, as an institution, public protector, the key mandate is also to investigate, uncover. The remedial actions are there to make sure that the very same issue which we've investigated and we are trying to address, it's not recurring for the future. So I think this process will help us to do that.
What happens if we separate the two matters? We deal with the initial report first, and what you're suggesting then comes after?
It was a suggestion. I have files which I've opened. I think they are not more than 25. But then again, it's waste of resources, because I mean, it's like you have this commission, it's a repetition of issues which are there. Why can't these matters be dealt with by that commission? I don't have a problem of continuing to investigate, but again, the problem is that the time I will take to finalize those matters will be longer because of capacity constraints. I don't have the capacity, and I think I've indicated as well that our budget has been cut with a further 8 million, and I'm operating on a 50% of my structure. I don't have the resources to do that. Then you'll find my office, because currently we're even dealing with backlogs dating back to 2011. Then we'll find ourselves in 2020 issuing reports dealing with issues relating to the same issue which the commission should have investigated in 6 months and finalized them.
Don't you think your predecessor, Madonsela, gave enough guidance in her state of capture report in terms of what should be probed and how far it should stretch? Don't you think she gave enough guidance to the commission of inquiry in terms of how far they can go in terms of the investigation into this matter?
I think even if it's broadly as possible, FCI are indicating that, remember, an investigation might go broader. I'm not disputing that. And as I said, that is a report of the public protector which I'm implementing. And I'm saying the additional complaints are received. Why commission not include them there and deal with? I don't have a problem to continue. It was a suggestion. And if then they are not included in the terms of reference, at any rate, those terms of reference, when they are drafted, I'll also have to monitor and make sure that they cover the issues which are in the state of capture report as a starting point. Okay. Therefore, I don't think there's any challenge. My only challenge is that it will take longer for me to finalize those issues. In no way I'm saying the commission must investigate since 1652 or even before 1994, but in its nature the investigation will uncover and will be dealing with issues. They won't just ignore information for the sake of ignoring it, because remember, this will help the country to put this behind us and to address the issues of corruption. Because remember, again, as an institution, public protector, the key mandate is also to investigate, uncover. The remedial actions are there to make sure that the very same issue which we've investigated and we are trying to address. It's not recurring for the future. So I think this process will help us to do that.
The South African Council of Churches, they also unhappy. They have demanded more clarity from you. Have you replied to the letter they have written to you requesting you to explain yourself?
I haven't replied. I've received the letter, I think, on Monday. And I think when I read the letter, they are seeking clarity. And I've listened to Bishop Bumlwane, I think this morning also. What they are up to, they seeking clarity. I don't know whether it's that criticism like any other person. I mean, you mentioned the former public protector was querying. She's also part of one of the commentators. SACC is one of other commentators. Some professors who were making comments everywhere. So it's like any other person. So I will respond. I think we will acknowledge receipt and then we will respond, or then I'll also arrange a meeting with the bishop just to understand what are his concerns. And I think in that letter he even acknowledges, he understands why the public protector should be key in this matter, because that's my report. I must monitor the implementation of that particular report. I must make sure that Treasury is availing resources. I must also make sure that after the report is issued, within the 14 days is sent to Parliament. I mean, I can't say it's criticism per se. Right. They are also entitled to their own views.
They also threaten to take action against you should you not provide an explanation that is satisfactory to them. How do you react to these threats?
Well, that you can find out from them. Why are they threatening me with taking legal action when I take it in the spirit of saying, you want clarity, I will still respond to you. Or then you want a meeting, come, let's sit down. I think it's unfortunate that you'll have to, your first letter, write to me and say, I will be taking legal action. Why do we have to deal with issues like that? I don't understand. But maybe they can clarify why they've included that sentence in their letter.
Did you at any point perhaps meet with the president where this issue was discussed? He's
implemented one of the remedial action. Why must I meet with him? So that is done. I must just follow up with Treasury, avail the resources so that the judge can appoint the capacity and start working.
A lot of people, especially on social media gets flooded with all sorts of comments, but those comments must be considered. It's people, it's South Africans. Some of them are saying you perhaps don't understand the whole matter around state capture. Can you just give them clarity in terms of your understanding of this?
As I've indicated to you in our opening, the report is the report of the public protector. State of capture, it mostly relates to the complaint by the priest from the Catholics, and the member of the DA lodged a complaint under the Executive Members Ethics Act. So that made the report then to be fast-tracked because it was lodged under the Executive Members Ethics Act, that the president has violated the code. So I don't understand when people are saying I don't understand. Well, that's all their own views. But at the end of the day, that report is the report of the public protector. I'm responsible for implementing it, and I think they need to understand that I know what I'm doing and I'm not confusing any issues, and I'm complying with what the court has ordered. Anyway, the order is on exactly what the remedial actions are saying. I'm not changing anything.
Your views on state capture itself, the fact that this phenomenon took place in a constitutional democracy, the looting, and some of the disturbing allegations that are linked to this particular matter. As an individual, as the public protector, how do you feel about this?
It's very concerning, and the state of capture, especially this one, is the state of capture report. But again, state capture is still continuing, and government being the biggest in fact, where all contracts can be issued. I mean, more than 400 billion, where private companies can supply or can apply for tenders to be supplying any services, monies which are availed in the municipalities, provinces, to be able to provide service delivery. I mean, when going around as the public protector, the biggest challenge which our people are facing at the grassroots are issues relating to service delivery, where you find that there are provision of issues of water, roads, schools, and all those issues. And there's money which is wasted. Hence, it's very critical as an institution. That's why I have a mandate under the PRECA legislation, the prevention and combating of corrupt activities, where during our investigation relating to procurement issues, for instance, especially a lot of corruption happens there, then some of our findings are referring matters to your Hawks, to your NPA, especially because there's criminality which has been done. The most important thing is that when complaints are lodged, that's where we have to investigate. And if an institution like ours, in terms of the National Development Plan, is not fully funded, that process takes longer, because if you have an issue which has been lodged, like the Madiba report, remember the complaint was lodged in 2013, but now we only finalized it now. All the monies already have been consumed or finished by the people who are implicated. You understand why the capacity, providing such institutions which capacity, so that we can also finalize those matters on time. People who are implicated, then you've got your asset forfeiture, they can forfeit those proceeds of crime on time. But now if you have such a very critical institution, is not fully funded or capacitated, there are those allegations hanging on the heads of those people who are alleged to be corrupt. And it's critical that the investigation clears a person, because that's how I do my work, objectivity. And that's where we also say, being a judge, being a officer of court, that's where it's critical to be objective, because we need to get all the evidence, investigate, be sure that when we say such a municipal manager, such a DG, such a minister has violated certain provisions of the law, we know that indeed we've done our part. And then it's easy for NPA and the Hawks to focus on the criminal part of that particular issue.
Some are saying and suggesting that the reason why you called for the scope of reference to be broadened is because you're trying to protect certain individuals that are directly implicated in the allegations around state capture, and you're not putting the interests of South Africans first. How do you react to this notion and some of these allegations?
I put the interest of South Africans first, Patricia, as I'm saying now, that it's very critical that the investigation be finished on time, very quicker, so that whoever has benefited unlawfully, has been corrupt, can be dealt with immediately. So, when you finish, like the commission, in 6 months, if they are done, and whoever is implicated, they can be brought to book. That's all we want as South Africans.
Now it's time for us to move on from this.
Yeah.
We cannot hang on in the balance forever, because it's consuming so much time. It's polarizing society. committee. I'm sure we'd all agree on that one.
Definitely we do, and that's what we need to be doing. Hence, I'm saying those issues which I have are additional relating to this matter. If they can't be included, it's fine, but it's unfortunate that they also have an impact on the very same thing which is hanging over people's heads and which is relating to the very same corruption which we are saying, let's finalize it quickly so that people can move on.